Hey, Brian from Garage Hall. I am at my workstation inside my studio, and I need to put a printer and a shelf up here. So I got the shelving kit. So this thing is pretty neat. I'll give you some close-ups of it, but let's open up, see exactly what we get inside. So you get a set of instructions, and then you get all this stuff. You get brackets. You even have like a magnetic level and with a clip on it, so like it's portable. I'm actually going to probably keep this and keep it with me as I go to different jobs and stuff that I'm doing. But you get all the brackets and screws that you need to attach them, and then this is what one of the brackets looks like. So you can make a nice floating shelf with this. So without further ado, let me give you a close-up of what's in the box, and then I will show you how I'm going to set up a shelf in here. Okay, so here's a close-up of the directions. So they give you wood screws, so if you're going into a 2x4 in your wall, concrete wall, they give you those, and then for your drywall, you have these, so I'll kind of like spread them all out for you. So these are the ones that you want to use on a drywall, and then you are putting these screws in there. And then this is what you would be putting in for like a concrete wall. And then regular screws, like, so if you have like a 2x4 stick behind your wall, you can kind of get that screwed in. And then it basically shows you how you are putting the bracket, let that focus, how you're putting our bracket in with your screwdriver, and it gives you some kind of easy to follow directions. But I'll show you exactly how we're going to be doing this, and then we can kind of go from there. So the shelf I'm going to use it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So as you can tell, this is a lot more than that. So I'm going to be actually mounting the shelf this way, and then we'll be screwing into the bottom of the shelf with those other screws, so you can kind of like see how that will hold. And again, this is my workstation. You can see all the clutter I got to get rid of. And then we basically are going to be putting that floating shelf right there. And mine is a little bit easy to do because you can kind of see the old spackle marks from where the screws were. So it makes my job a little bit easier. But you do have a magnet on this. So if you're looking for some drywall screws, you can kind of like feel the magnet grab a little bit. It's not going to hold it, but you'll feel it kind of grab. Otherwise, just get a stud finder so you can find your studs. Or if you're like me, you can kind of figure out where the studs actually are, and then we go from there. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're getting ready, and I was kind of like flipping this back and forth, trying to see what was best. I'm actually going to probably mount it this way, just because when the shelf sits on this, it will kind of hide most of it, and the bracket won't be underneath. You won't be able to see it. But anyway, so I'm going to put this level on the end of this, so I can put it on a wall. And I have a board that I was kind of using as a visual. This is not my final shelf, but I'm kind of like just using a piece of scrap wood that's about 36 inches long, and I'm just kind of getting an idea of where I'm going to actually have that shelf at. And I think I'm probably going to put it right about here. So what I'm doing is I am going to, I have a beam here that I already can see the screws in a drywall for, but you can spot yours if you have a stud finder. And I am kind of lining it up a little bit below that. So I kind of think I'm going to have it go right about this height. So with that level, I'm just going to angle that board, that bracket, so I have it angled this way. And then I'm going to use the end of this to poke through the little holes to line this up on the wall. And then we'll just move this underneath, so we still make sure we're level. And then I'm basically going to just make a mark in the drywall in the center of that hole, so you can kind of visually see that. So now I have a guide holes on where I can line that up for. So now I know I have a wood stud here. So these are the two things I'm going to put in these drywall screws. So I'm basically just going to push them in. I'm going to get that going. Or my power drill. And we're just going to drill that in. All right, so again, we're going to keep that little level on there, and then we're going to mount this one first on the right. So we got the hole established, and then we'll drill into the stud on the left-hand side. So still keeping that level. So now we can use one of the longer wood screws. All right, so that's in there. Okay. So we'll put the last smaller screw onto the right. Okay, and I mean that shelf is super sturdy and secure. Now we're going to line up the other brackets using my template, or basically my piece of scrap wood. And then we'll just kind of have that sit on there, and we'll kind of figure out where exactly we're going to have that sit. And I think that looks pretty good right there. It's kind of like gives enough room on either side that we can move some stuff around if we had to. So let's line up the next bracket underneath to the left and to the right. All right, what I'm doing is I'm measuring 16 inches on center, which is typical code for where the center of the beams are. And it looks like I have it right about. And let's make a mark right here on the wall where 16 inches on center is. Bracket we're going to move over a little bit, and we know we got a point right there. I'm also just going to make a little bit of a notch here with the pen so I know where that part of the wall is. And then next we're going to make some marks where the screw holes should be. And again, using this as kind of like my level. We'll put our level here. We'll just make sure that we're set. Okay, I think that's about center and level. Now bring our board down. We'll keep that centered. So we'll make our marks there. And again, we'll put this bracket in here. Okay, so let's drill that. Okay, so we're going to check that level. We're still level, so let's put that last bracket in. I'll just move that over. And we'll just get that bracket lined up there. Make our marks. Okay, so bring this across, make sure that we're nice and level still. Nice and level. Nice and level. And then nice and level. So far so good. Okay, nice and easy. Let's go get our real shelf and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is the shelf I stained to match all the wood. And we'll put it right there. And line that up nice and center on the brackets. And then there you go. Once I screw that into place and put some stuff up there, you won't even see the brackets, and you can see how it's kind of like a floating shelf. So stay tuned. Okay, so I put some gloves on because the stain was still kind of wet, but that's okay. We're going to use some of those screws to help secure the shelf in place. Okay, so there you have it. That is your shelf, and I'm going to move my printer in on this and a couple little things to kind of like get out of the way here. But that's just using 3 brackets. That's about a 36-inch shelf, so it'll kind of give you an idea of what you can put on there. Now this shelf is a little bit longer than probably I wanted it to be, but since I'm putting a printer up there, it doesn't weigh that much. I'm going to probably center it here because that bracket has some good stability to it, and then I can put a bunch of stuff on either end of that. So anyway, stay tuned. I'll show you the final example of how everything fits up there, nice and mounted nice. Okay, so that is my printer mounted up on the shelf. Just kind of give you an idea. So I'll clean up some of this clutter, put some stuff up there, but that gives you a really good idea of how nice, strong, and sturdy those brackets are. Anyway, Brian from Garage Mahal, thanks for watching, and be safe out there.